Good morning, everyone, and welcome to Live with Mel. It seems as though in the United States, every few days, we are hearing about an active shooter. Now, as we remember, in the past couple of weeks, we heard about the shootings that happened in Colorado and the shootings that happened in Georgia. Now, this week, yesterday, April 6th, there was another active shooter. And this active shooter happened near and on a military base in Maryland. Now, there's not much information about the motives or what happened with this active shooter, but I am going to tell you all the information that we currently know. But there was an active shooter near a military base. The active shooter actually started near the military base in Maryland at a business park where he shot and seriously injured 2 U.S. sailors. After he shot the sailors, he went ahead and hopped in his car and actually drove to the military base where he was stopped. Now, the active shooter was actually identified and is a U.S. Navy hospital corpsman, which is about the same or the equivalent of a medic in the Army. And he is named Fatunhan Waldensbet. Now, Waldensbet is in the military, and the 2 people that he shot were also in the military. Now, people are not aware, and they don't know whether or not the people he shot, the soldiers that he shot, and himself, if they know each other, or whether or not this was just a random crime. Again, not much is being released in details about the case, and people don't know what the motives are just yet. Now, the shooting began at an industrial park, or at a business park, about 10 miles away from the base. Waldensbet took out his rifle and shot 2 U.S. Navy soldiers or sailors at the business park. Now, one of the sailors were able to crawl to a business and call for help. Now, the 2 soldiers were critically injured, but they are still alive. The sailors are still alive, and after they were shot and they crawled to the business to go ahead and ask for help, they were airbacked to a hospital in Baltimore to receive treatment. Now, the 2 sailors, their names have not been released, but we do know that they were assigned to Fort Detrick, which is the base that was 10 miles away from where they were shot. They were assigned to this base, and that is the same exact base that Fatunhan Waldensbet was actually assigned to as well. Now, there's speculations that these 3 men may have known each other, but again, they are not sure. They don't have a motive, and they don't know why this 38-year-old shooter targeted these 2 men, but they were targeted. Now, the active shooting did begin about 10 miles away at this business park, and he got into his car and he drove to Fort Detrick, which is the military base, and he did come in contact with the guards, and he did get past the guards. Once he got past the guards, he made it about half a mile into the base, and he saw that he faced oppositions from the military police, and essentially he came out of the car and brandished a weapon, and when they saw that, the police went ahead and fired at the suspect and critically and fatally wounded him, and he was pronounced dead at the scene. So they did try to revive him, but they didn't. The reviving him did not work. Now, again, people do not know the motive. I know people have been trying to figure out what the motive is, but with Waldensbet dying at the scene, it's going to be a lot harder to find out what the motive is. But again, this was an active shooting that took place near and around the base. Now, while the 38-year-old shooter was assigned to the base, the same base that the victims were assigned to, he actually did not live on base. He actually lived off base, but was assigned to the base. And he did commute in. So what are your thoughts, guys? I know there's not a lot of information being released about this case, but it was another active shooter here in the United States, and this time it did happen near and on a military base. And while we do know what happened, while we do know the events that happened during the shooting, we're not sure what led up to the shooting, and we're not sure what the suspect's motive may be. Again, there's not a lot of information being released about this case, and they are still searching for a motive. So guys, let me know what you think about in the comment section below. If you guys have any questions, any comments about this case, what do you think happened? Again, one of the things that they're trying to figure out, and this happened yesterday morning, but one of the things that they're really trying to figure out is whether or not the suspect knew the victims. Now, the two victims have been identified. They are in a hospital in Baltimore. They are in critical condition, but they are alive and they are doing better. But their names have not been released. The only thing that's really been released about the two victims are that they were assigned to the same base that the shooter was assigned to, and that they were shot off base about 10 miles away. Now, people aren't sure whether or not Waldman's Bet stalked them and shot them there. People don't know if it was just a random shooting. Again, they don't know what the motives are, but many people are speculating different things about this case. Now, again, he did make it back on base. When he was approaching the base, when he was approaching Fort Detrick, authorities did radio ahead, and they told Fort Detrick, the guards at Fort Detrick's, to be on the lookout for him because he was a suspect in the crime. But even though they were told to be on guard for him, he did make it past the gates. Again, not very far, just about half a mile past the gates, but he still was able to make it back on base. And we don't really know if he had more plans to carry out more shootings once he got on base, but we do know that he was stopped and fatally shot by the police as he made it about a mile onto the base. Now, it looks as though the two victims, the two U.S. soldiers, will be making a full recovery. Again, after they were shot at the business park, they were air-backed away to a hospital in Baltimore. And they are going to, it looks as though they're going to make a full recovery. And maybe once they are stabilized, they'll be able to give us more information about whether or not they knew the soldier. Now, it's coming out that they're not sure they knew each other personally, but they are saying that there is a great possibility that the two victims and the suspect were aware of each other. They were aware of who each other were. Now, this base is very, very close to Washington, D.C. It's about 50 miles away from Washington, D.C. And this base does focus on dealing with biodefense. And people are not sure if that has anything to do with it, but that is something that is being reported as well. So guys, what do you think? Let me know in the comment section below. What do you guys think about this case? Again, it was an active shooting that happened near and on a military base. Now, the threat was handled as soon as it did make it onto the military base. So we do know that the military base handled the situation. The suspect, the shooter, was killed when he tried to continue to go further in on base, but we do know that it was neutralized there. And we don't know exactly what his motives were for actually shooting these two military soldiers. Again, they were all three, the victims and the shooter, were all assigned to Fort Detrick, which is a military base in Frederick, Maryland, which is about 15 miles away from DC. So guys, let me know what you think in the comment section below. We do know the military stopped the threat as soon as it came in. We do know that they were all assigned to the same base. What we don't know at the moment is the motive behind the shooting. We don't know why Waldman's Bet decided to shoot two of his colleagues, two other people in the military. And again, we do know that we hear about active shootings every couple of days for the past couple of weeks in the United States. Active shooting is something that does occur in the United States. But this active shooter was much different because it was a military personnel who did target two other military personnel and then brought that onto a military base. So Joanna says, it seems as this is becoming a norm for the United States. And again, this is something that does happen in the United States. We do hear about active shooters. In the past, I want to say 3 weeks, we've heard of 3 major cases that were an active shooter. Again, this one is different than the other 2 cases. In the other 2 cases that made major news, many people tragically lost their lives. But in this active shooter case, the victims were very lucky because they are still alive, and no one but the shooter actually lost their life. And again, I think a big part of that is because he did drive onto the military base. And when you drive onto the military base and you brandish a weapon, you're going to be shot at because it's a military base and it does deal with biodefense as well. So they're not going to have a threat come onto the base. Now, something else that is very interesting is the fact that he drove on base and then brandished a weapon. With someone who is in the military, you know that if you show, if you point, if you brandish a weapon on base, you're going to be neutralized. So it could be that he was trying to have some type of suicide by police because he ran onto the base and he showed his weapon. And someone who is in the military will know that if you show a weapon on base, if you point a weapon on base, that the main thing that's going to happen is that the military police is going to neutralize the threat on base. So again, guys, this was another active shooting that happened in the United States. This time it had to deal with military personnel. And although it started about 10 miles away from the military base, it eventually made its way onto a U.S. military base, and that is Fort Detrick in Fredericks, Maryland, about 50 miles away from DC. So guys, let me know what you think about in the comments section below, and I will see each and every single one of you bright and early tomorrow morning. I come on live every single Monday through Thursday to bring you current events. Now, whether we share the same opinion, or whether you have a different opinion, your opinion matters. So please write in, share your opinions with me. Let me know what you think about all the current events that we do discuss on this show. The main point of the show is to bring you guys the facts and allow you guys the opportunity to write in and let me know what you think and share your opinions about what's going on around the world. So guys, thank you so much for tuning in this morning. And again, whether you're watching this live or whether you're tuning in later on, go ahead and share your comments in the comment section below. Let me know what you guys are thinking. Again, whether it's live or whether you're watching this later, let me know what you guys think about the cases as well. And you can watch this show right here on Facebook, on ENSL.live, Roku TV, or you can also listen to it on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and many other places. So guys, thank you so much for tuning in. And then let me know where you guys are listening to this or watching this. Go ahead and drop in the comment section below where you guys watch this as well. I'll see everyone bright and early tomorrow morning. Again, let me know what your thoughts are in the comment section. Again, a 38-year-old military Navy medic murdered 2 other Navy sailors yesterday, and it was an active shooter. He was neutralized when he came back on base. So let me know what you guys think about this active shooter that happened in Fredericks, Maryland. I'll see everyone bright and early tomorrow morning. And don't forget to check out our other great shows on ENSL. We have great shows coming, and then we have this other great show. This show's not about politics, but it's another great show about food and cocktails where the host goes around the country and tries cocktails and cuisines from around the country. So check that show out as well. And you can also watch that on ENSL, whether it's the Roku channel or directly on the website as well. So check out the show. And here is the trailer for that show.
Going to dive in tongue first. Of course, we had to find some good eating.
Cocktails and Cuisine coming to ENSL Spring 2021 on Roku TV. So guys, thank you so much for tuning in with Live and Mel, and I'll see every one of you bright and early tomorrow morning. Have a great day, guys.